you to fill that out so we can learn how we can best celebrate you and congratulate you during this time of year. Shoot, words. I am not prepared at all to do this. Next week, next week we are going to be continuing our Next Step series. We will have a visitor from Great Lakes Christian College telling us some more information about how you can continue to stay a Christian beyond high school. And then finally, we are going to be stopping Modified Live for a little bit after next week. I know, very sad. I will miss you all even more than I do now. But it'll be nice to have a little bit of break, and it'll make it even better when we come back again for even more Modified Live.
So it's scheduled, right?
Yeah. It's a regularly scheduled break, and then we will return to our regularly scheduled programming. But tonight we have Hannah with us again.
Yes.
And we also have Jennifer, and we're going to be continuing our See No Evil series. But before we do that, I have some questions for you guys. So, how have we been handling like our coronation? What have you guys been doing?
I've been working from home since that's been our policy here. Doing a lot of baking and cleaning. Say at the beginning it was cool, it was a novelty, like, yeah, we're at home, what does this mean? Now it's kind of I'm getting a little over it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, kind of like ready to start going the opposite direction of like preparing to go back out into society.
I didn't realize how funny people are until I'm not around them.
Explain that. What do you mean by that?
Just like the minor jokes that people crack that you're just like, that's funny. Like on a given day, you're just like, oh, that's dumb. But then when you don't have it, you're like, oh, that's not dumb. That's actually really cool and fun and.
Cool. So I know when you're giving me a pity laugh tonight,
Yeah.
you'll know that I'm actually funny. Thank you. That makes me feel a whole lot better. All right. So would you say you guys have been handling like the coronation like well, or like do you think you handled it bad, or like are you using your time appropriately? I don't.
Oh, I know what everyone's trying to say. Use those weeks you have. Learn a new language. Like, do all this thing. I actually read a book, like a real book from beginning to end in a day. And I haven't done that since like high school, where I actually had the time to do that. So that's been nice. I felt I used that day very well.
Nice.
Truthfully, I am starting to just kind of be, everybody has told me it's going to be like 30 days. You'll create a new habit. It'll start feeling more routine. It's not routine. I'm sad. If the weather doesn't cooperate, then I'm also like, can't even go outside. When you're walking down the street, like if you're taking your walk and everybody like, I don't know if you've had this, where you go outside and another family or whatever's coming towards you and they cross the street and then keep going. How sad. I'm ready for that to stop. It's like just to be able to say hi to somebody or not have to cross paths with such a big space.
I mean, my family, we go back and forth between here and the church, so that's our family walk. But our neighborhood has had more running, like people who run, than in my entire lifetime. Like one dude, he ran past our house 3 times, and my mom was like, "Oh look, there he goes again." And it was just like,
Yes.
it's strange. It's very strange.
Yeah. I feel like for me, it like kind of goes like in waves almost. Like the other day, me and Chelsea, like we kind of bent the rules a little bit. We went to the store and we bought stuff to like work on like our front garden area. So we bought like flowers and pavers and all of that sort of stuff. And so we have like really good productive moments like that. And then I have days like yesterday at work where I was standing at the desk in my department and a customer caught me banging my head against the table. And they asked me how I was doing. I was like, I don't even know anymore. So like it varies between doing stuff outside and banging my head against the table. So it's how it works.
Yeah.
Hannah has been really worried about the game we are going to play tonight.
There's a tarp.
Yes, there is a tarp, the covered tarp behind the blue curtain. And so we are going to be playing what we like to call spam castles. I actually did this when I was in youth group.
Okay.
So basically how it's going to work is we're going to get some spam and we're going to build castles out of it.
What flavor?
I think the Spam has.
Original? It does. It comes in turkey and it comes in.
I'm pretty sure it's original flavored
Okay,
Spam.
because I know their slogan is "Don't knock it till you fried it."
I have never had Spam before. Have you had Spam before?
That's the salty smell I was smelling earlier.
They're not even open. How did you sniff them?
She's got a super sniffer.
Oh, thank you.
Alright, so while Brayden passes this out, basically how this is gonna work is we all get 2 cans of Spam. We get some nifty toothpicks here. And we get a knife for cutting. And so we're each gonna get 3 minutes to bring our tray to the table and build the best Spam castle we can. And it's going to be live from our action cam, our new today action cam.
Okay.
So it's going to be really fun. Yeah, Spam castles.
It's a spam can.
Just the Spam cam. It has officially been dubbed the Spam cam.
Jazz up a favorite. Add Spam Classic to a great grilled cheese sandwich.
Yeah.
Add spam.
Not brought to you by Spam.
Is it like an acronym for something? Does anybody know?
Yes.
Modified
what is it?
potato.
Oh, I do. Don't look at the ingredients. Don't read the
But you
ingredients.
never read the ingredients.
I'm reading the
All right.
ingredients.
So I think we should have Hannah go first
Oh, gosh.
because she seems so enthused about this.
Oh no.
So as soon as you're ready, go ahead and take your tray to the table, and we will
Oh, so we get to watch.
bam it up. Yeah, we get to interrogate. Well, no, like harass.
Can I
we
open
get
it
to harass.
beforehand?
Or does the timer include opening of said can?
Are we ready? Yeah, tell us when.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go.
it
Just
includes-
go.
All right.
Just go.
Sure.
Just go.
Oh no, it
Opening of said
includes.
cans, 3 minutes. Action begin.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh yes.
I am not
Oh,
looking
yes,
forward to
Hannah.
my.
no! Oh, it smells like wet dog food.
Oh,
You
glorious.
smell wet dog.
I'm trying to see. Oh, that's a great angle.
My
I
grandma.
love that Spam cam.
All right, can you get it out of the can?
I don't.
That's the
want
first
Use the
step.
knife.
Roll up those sleeves.
Yes.
They are rolled up.
You're wasting precious
I
time.
know.
All right, so
We might give you a sympathy extra minute or 6.
Yeah, Jennifer's gotta like think
Oh,
of her technique.
I am, and then I was looking to
yes.
see when the Best Buy date is, just to see
Oh,
like, and
I
it's
mean-
April 2023. So 3 years at least from now.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
I'm
this
sure
will,
this
will
will
go
last
great in your bomb shelter.
You know.
Oh, you got one out.
Oh, yes.
Woo!
There we go. Look.
Are you allowed to use the can?
Ooh, I didn't think about
Oh,
that. I would say
like-
yes.
Yes.
If you're
I'm
gonna,
gonna throw up.
No, you're not. You got this.
I don't know what to do with it.
I mean,
You do you, Hannah, because I'm gonna win.
I have feelings that you will. Okay.
Man, if I had like a pan, we could fry it up, give it a little more texture.
It
that's
has
just some
enough
stability
texture.
of the building.
Yeah.
Jen, it has enough texture.
Yeah, soft, wet, mushy texture. Not nice.
I can start. I'm smelling it now. It does smell.
I have yet to get a whiff. I'm sure
You
I'll
want
get my own.
I
when-
can-
It
no.
kind of reminds me of that cat food that I made. Was it you, Brayden? That I made touch last week or something
Somebody
like
had
that?
a touch cat food?
Yeah,
I think
it
it
was
was
from our
Kevin.
What's
Oh,
in
it's
the Box.
Kevin. Oh, yeah,
That
What's
was
in the
Kevin,
Box.
yeah.
What's in the
Yum.
box?
Yeah,
I
you
can
get
just-
lots of love online. People are sympathetic for you.
I
You
can
have
assure you this
1
smells like-
minute.
Oh, I got a I got. It's worked its way
Yeah,
over here.
Waft. Yeah,
Wafted.
waft.
I remember science class from 20 years ago.
This is
Ah, yes, the spam hen.
slightly worse than cutting open a frog this year in science.
Have you just given
how
up? Have
it's-
you decided?
yeah.
You still have 40 seconds left.
It's a castle.
Just keep telling yourself that.
You don't know what a castle looks like yet.
Spikes for defense, you know?
Mm-hmm. Anti-siege weapons.
Yeah. Also, if they try to do a flying attack, they're gonna get impaled.
Hey,
Hey,
good.
yeah, good.
So no dragons can land on the
Nope.
top. It's like the bird guards on the
It's
top
like
of
the-
really old churches and stuff.
And the Kroger sign.
And the Kroger sign.
Lydia said it reminds her of her dad feeding the cats.
You tagging out?
Yep.
5, 4, 3.
Ooh.
2, 1.
Oh man. Beautiful.
Gone.
All right.
Wonderful. Bravo.
They
we have
left it-
wipes over
Help.
here.
Yeah, I got you.
Walter
Help.
will get that for
Send
you.
help, please.
You're supposed to lick off your hands, man.
Ew.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Here
maybe.
you go.
I don't know.
I think we'll
see.
just like
Who's going
Yeah.
next?
lay this
Yeah.
over to the side
Here
here,
you go.
so we can
So,
see our
yeah, don't touch things. Gross. Social distance. Here you go. That smells
Yum.
awful.
Fantastic.
I will say the independent judges, Braden and myself, will give you extra points for as much of it as you consume. So by ounce.
Oh man.
I can assure you I'll be taking none of those extra.
None of those opportunities.
All right.
All right, Jen. Would you want to go next, or do you want to see all of the comments?
I'm gonna wash
I
my
don't
hands like
know.
10 times.
Oh, you got 3 minutes back up there? Good job.
I'll go.
All right, Jen's gonna go next for
Oh,
us.
it leaked.
Here you go.
All right. Let me have my tools and everything all ready and prepared.
And-
Oh, now I'm serving. No, it's
Oh man. Okay.
3, 2,
we
1,
go.
chunk. Ew.
go!
No.
Did I hit Mike?
Oh man, she's throwing the lids on the. Oh gosh. I am slightly
tell
terrified.
Jen the cook. Ew, there's like chunks. I've had to do some weird stuff at Modified. I've never had to open a can of Spam before.
It's like I'm dissecting something that might be
Like-
food.
I really want to like give
Could
some
be
like, commentary
food.
of
It
like, what
tries.
the ingredients are.
Oh, there's
I
like
mean, you could-
potato starch.
You got like fake potatoes. What do we got here?
Ingredient. There was like a little row.
Mm.
Oh, she's like knife going for it. I just.
Yeah.
kinda
I got knife skills, man.
I just kind of use my fingers.
Like the key to when you're like holding a knife, you actually supposed to pinch the blade so you
Oh,
get
here we go.
better.
Let's see. We've got pork with ham, as if they
Pork
weren't
with
the same.
ham.
As if they weren't the same thing.
Aren't
Salt,
they the same
water,
creature?
modified potato starch, sugar, and sodium nitrate. Yum.
I don't think there should be sugar in that.
There
Smell
is
it.
6 servings in this one container.
I feel like you shouldn't have to have 6 servings of Spam. I feel like one should be enough.
No, never enough spam.
I can certainly disagree with that, but okay.
Never enough spam?
Whoa, Jen's even got like the like.
Yeah, she's got like a gate and everything.
I fully will admit that her castle is way better than mine.
My castle's a little stab. We'll see. We'll see if it can hold up. Oh, I said it.
About half of your time is gone.
No! I need this time.
Eric, you better be taking notes. This is
I know.
Like,
I know.
This is serious.
Stay, stay, stay. Be
If it
good
doesn't-
spam.
Slap
As
it.
opposed,
Oh, it's sticky.
It's like sticky and slimy somehow at the same time.
Oh,
no, it's not like a snake. Snakes aren't slimy.
snakes are not slimy.
They're not sticky.
I would rather touch a snake right now.
Yum.
Because it's kind of warm too. Yeah, it is. Yours wasn't warm?
No,
Oh my
mine
God,
was.
poison it!
Should consider yourself guys grateful. This was the last bit of spam that they had at Meyer today.
Well, of course it
We have done
is. I
somebody a
mean,
favor.
no.
It smells like dog food. Hardcore.
Ooh, 30 seconds.
I know, I'm running out of time. I got it too many details. That's what gets me in
Okay.
the end.
So what we've learned is that too many details will kill you, and not enough will also kill you.
you.
So you gotta find that happy spam-tastic
No,
medium.
it's falling apart. Come back together. You got this spam.
Ooh.
As I'm like talking to my spam.
You can
You
do
know
it.
you want to be a beautiful castle and not what you
8,
actually
7,
are.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You missed. All right.
Whoa. Wow. Okay.
I'll take it.
Okay.
I'll take
We're
it.
getting
It's
there.
beautiful.
We're getting.
All
We have
right.
some.
Where's the spam can? Is it right here?
The spam can. It's right there. It's on the,
Here you go.
Am I supposed to taste it now?
I mean, you can.
Whoa! Extra points for Jennifer.
Ooh.
Nice
okay.
work. Here you
Can
go.
you eat it raw?
Man.
It's pre-cooked.
Yeah, it's pre-cooked.
I'll go get
It can be
your trash
served
can.
hot or cold.
I'm good. I'm good.
I
I'm
want
good. Oh, the lids. Did I get on your foot?
People make
Man, first you're throwing
Oh.
jelly beans, Jennifer, and now you're
Whoever's-
throwing spam.
Whoever's watching the
Oh,
reruns of this is going to be really confused by my sandals.
No, that's
Woo.
no.
All right.
Congratulations. Wow, that is
Ooh.
The mix of
Oh,
Psych.
sorry. I,
Hold.
mean, I got serious.
the Clorox wipe and the like spam mixed together is like.
Yeah.
Clorox and spam.
It's
I like it.
it's bleachy ham.
I already
Bleached
have bad
ham.
experience.
Bleach ham.
All right.
Mm.
Cool.
All right, come on, Eric.
All right.
Are we
Let me
ready?
know when we're starting.
And go. Go right. Okay.
Man, that initial whiff is just like,
Makes you want to puke. How did you guys get yours out of the container with such ease?
oh, I just
You
threw
didn't
away
hear
one of
me.
my materials.
You did. Oh no! You only have one pan. What are you gonna do?
Okay, we're gonna make the walls a little bit thicker, and
I didn't
see if
even
that's-
use one.
Jennifer, how much spam did you just consume? Like
1 inch by 1 inch square.
a cube?
Say a
Like,
cube.
We get like a cheese cube of spam.
Yes. A serving size.
Delicious.
What is a serving size?
well, there's 6 per can.
2 ounces. So a
So-
good slice, I would say, is a serving size. If you could get that far. There is quite a
Yum.
bit of protein in there. 7 grams.
Well, I'm glad there's something in there.
7 grams of protein.
Okay.
I can.
I mean, you did. So,
I can't believe that I did.
oh gosh.
Ooh, long ways.
Time's half up.
Pro strats.
Gosh. It goes by so
See,
quickly.
I shouldn't have gone second to give away my secrets.
It was a good idea. A for effort.
That 3 minutes though, you think it's forever,
You- you-
and it's not.
It's forever when you're not actually like.
it's only forever when you're not using
when
it.
you're watching somebody else fill the spam can.
Yeah.
So what's your thought process right now, Eric?
Oh man. I need to I made the pieces thicker than what I think I saw Jen use. So hopefully it has more stability than the other one.
I feel like dogs would turn away from spam. Like,
I don't.
Wow. I mean, they eat their own vomit.
it might be worse than dog vomit.
The new jelly bean flavor spam.
Oh my gosh, please no.
Yeah.
I think that would make a wonderful addition to.
Don't
Bean
add
Boozled.
that. Don't add that.
They probably already have.
Jelly bean people, please don't listen to Eric's flavor suggestions.
It's like spam. Or
I
you get spam or
Make
coffee.
wonderful games. Why shouldn't they listen to me?
I think it seeped into my clothing.
Oh.
It seeped into my soul. Okay, and then we're gonna have like a lookout tower.
Wow.
Yeah, I think.
Boo.
20 seconds.
I mean, mine's keeping the dragons away. Mine's got spikes.
Plus a knife sticking out of it, like it's
Oh, yeah.
done.
You know, it's hardcore.
Ooh,
They're gonna kill that dragon.
They're gonna kill.
They're gonna kill that dragon.
One way or another.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, I guess
The
we're gonna
end.
live with there. Yeah, there we go.
All right, let me get you your clean your hands here for now, yeah. And then Brayden and I need to do some judging.
Wash
Yes.
my hands so much.
Did you need some more
I don't think it's gonna help.
wipes?
Once you've been stained, you can't go
Don't
back.
you get the grease of the spam
It
on your
is a
hands?
little-
Is it a little greasy?
It is
It's
a little
like
greasy.
Frisco meets
It's like,
pepperoni.
I'm sure nobody in this room has ever eaten potted meat before. but-
All right,
No,
I have eaten
think
canned
so.
beef quite a few times.
Potted meat where it's
Oh.
all minced up and you spread it on
No,
bread.
that does
Okay.
not sound good at all.
It's
no.
better than that.
You want to try again, Hannah, with another wipe, or you good?
No, I'm good. I'll
Okay.
just
She
wash my hands later.
is good right now until she gets a whiff from her hand later.
Brayden, you got thoughts on who won here? Because I have thoughts. He's really thinking about it.
Mhm.
It's like
Huh?
texture. It's like pulled pork.
Oh,
but
okay, okay.
also not.
All right, once Eric's done rustling his
Sorry.
hands. All right, Brayden, what do you think, buddy?
I think Jennifer had the best plan,
Mm-hmm.
but I think Eric had the best execution,
Mm.
and Hannah had the best idea. So it's really up to you.
Oh, thanks for punting right there.
I
That's
did
nice.
eat some.
So here's the thing: when you guys were building these, this is what I saw. You know, like when you play Ages of Empires or Civilization, and you've got different civilization, different eras. Hannah's like the barbarians. They're trying to stay alive.
They
They're
just
like
pump dirt
spikes all
together.
over everything.
But
We're
they
just
knew
building
how to stay
down.
alive.
And they did stay alive, right? They made it okay, and then like Jennifer's like space age, like there's a lot of precision right there. But the problem was it didn't Like the execution didn't work out, and so you're like a space civilization that flew to Mars, and then they all
Died.
died.
Yeah, we died.
So-
We forgot water.
Yeah.
I mean, you get like a bonus extra 10 points for eating spam, which I would not have done. And Eric, like that's pretty respectable. You got
Thank
the
you.
height. Like I think that's like the peak of Renaissance spam carving like civilization. So
Thank you.
round of applause. Eric wins tonight. I'm
Oh,
gonna
man.
take these off the screen so we don't have to look at
Thank
them.
you.
What does he win?
Spam!
Yeah.
You get to eat some.
Ronan
Yeah.
would have
That-
a wonderful snack
That
later
one
tonight.
piece over there, I didn't even like get into it.
Oh.
Distraction.
You know, if only we could have foreseen the great Walter attacking.
I know, right?
All right. Well, now that the spam apocalypse is over, we need to give you guys something that'll make you feel warm and fuzzy inside. And so we have a video of a cheetah, and I believe it's a bunny, but it ends very, very happily.
Wait, you can't tell them how it ends.
First, I thought you were gonna warn me that it ended very, very poorly,
Oh no, this one's supposed.
Oh,
This
sorry.
one gives
Oh,
you
this
the
one.
warm fuzzies.
and then you're gonna dash it later.
No,
Oh, okay.
I don't have to do that.
Okay.
All right.
Oh.
And I know. Did you see the air that rabbit got?
He's zooming.
Like he got out of there fast.
I would.
Like he is so lucky. Like I can't believe he actually made it out of there. Oh my gosh. But yeah. So really good news there. The next one we're gonna watch is about a man who found a mouse in his home and actually released it into nature. So another warm fuzzy. It's so adorable.
There he goes. Good luck on your own, buddy. Oh, God.
Oh my gosh. I love that. The promise of freedom, and then I can assume snatched. Assume destruction. He's going to become that bird spam snack.
I was expecting the
Spam
house to
scent.
like run back to the house.
Come right back into
Just
the.
like,
Yeah.
I like.
We
where I
once
was.
had a bowl on our kitchen table, and I put it in a container, and we drove out to the country and let it go.
Yeah.
We didn't know how it got on the table.
Ooh. Yeah. I don't like the idea of mice. We've had mice in our house for a little bit. I think they are finally gone. but I don't know how. Like they're like Spider-Man. They're able to like climb up walls and stuff. Like they're crazy.
And fit into tiny little places.
Yeah.
There was a mouse that ran through my AP World History class earlier this year at school, and we nicknamed him George. And then he ran next door into another classroom.
George betrayed us. But so obviously nature has its own laws, and you know sometimes animals survive, and then other times there's great injustice in the animal kingdom. Just like that poor mouse who gained his freedom just to have it snatched away from him. And so we're going to continue our discussion on injustice tonight, but that's unfortunately where the mouse talk ends, and we're going to talk about actual people. So because of the current crisis and the coronavirus, a lot of things have changed. Like we've had to reschedule our plans for like our anniversary and stuff like that. What are you guys kind of looking forward to most once all of this is like blown over and we kind of go back to a new normal?
What are you looking forward to, Hannah?
Gee, I don't know. Probably being able to see friends, because, like, yeah, I get to see, like, you guys, which is cool. No offense.
I'm offended.
I'm so sorry.
First you make fun of my humor, and now this.
She pity laughs at you and doesn't miss you.
Sorry. I'm so terrible. But, like, I mean, there are people here at Modified that I miss seeing, and, like, I miss all the crazy shenanigans, and it's, like, kind of a bright spot at the beginning of the week that's like, okay, this won't be so terrible because this was fun. So yeah, I'm kind of missing like the face-to-face
Face
connection.
interactions. Okay.
I don't want to having to keep wearing face masks everywhere I go. When you wear glasses, it fogs them up. And it's just the general feeling of like everybody's walking around. My husband doesn't like to wear his because he has a bandana, so he jokes that he's going to rob the store every time we go in the store. But it protects his beard because he has a nice beard.
That is important.
So the other masks you can't do it with. So yeah, I'll be happy for masks to go away for the most part. I do miss my family. We've stayed pretty strict with all of the shelter in place. So some of my family we haven't seen since January. So. And they live in Holt, so it's not like they're like across somewhere else. They live here in town.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I miss, and I didn't realize it until I was thinking about it the other day, is just being able to go to stores for no good reason. Like that's mine and Chelsea's favorite pastime is going to Target and just walking around for hours looking at the things we can't afford. And so I think our plan as of right now is to go to IKEA once everything's back to normal. We love IKEA so much.
So that's
IKEA.
I know, like you brought to you by IKEA.
IKEA.
This is actually an IKEA commercial.
Yeah.
IKEA.
Yeah. But like all political things aside, you know, everyone just kind of wants to get this thing solved. We want to have the cure. We want to like make sure the steak are all good, and then just go back to normal as quickly as possible. And so, Jennifer, I know in the past you said you've been keeping track of the days of like we've been in this like stay-at-home.
Oh no, you're asking me.
Yeah.
I
you know
stopped.
where we're at right
We're
now.
at least in the 40s.
We're in the 40s now.
Yeah.
Like when this first started, I never imagined it getting this far.
It was yesterday.
Yeah, like yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm glad it
I
feels
feel
like that to you.
I'm still stuck in March. Like it's May and I'm like, oh no.
Where did they all go?
I remember waking up and being like, "What? It's May 1st? What did that happen?"
No. It's a very solemn Star Wars day.
It is. May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with
And
you. So because everything's all crazy right now and Corona is like the biggest problem we have to fix, but if Corona didn't exist right now, what is one thing in the world that you would fix? Like if you could fix anything in the world.
Ooh, wow.
Any thoughts on
Going
that?
for a big one, gender equality.
Gender
If you're
equality.
going big, like just the difference between, not there being a difference between men and women in the pay, and you know, being a part of a community inside the church, and there's different roles and ways for women and men. Just that, you know, it could be, gender equality would be my big one.
I feel like I would go emotional equality, like okay, so let's say one person has like severe depression and somebody else has like maybe some like minor problems, not being like your pain is all equal, like you're allowed to feel your emotions kind of
Okay.
deal, and like just be like, even if you're not like showing signs of anything like 24/7, you're still allowed to be like valid with what you feel.
Okay.
Something like that.
Mine's a little selfish. If I could fix anything in the world, I would come up with a cure for asthma. Like,
That's
Like,
fair.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
it's,
that's a good one.
it's a little
My mom
annoying.
suffers with that, so yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I feel, Dan, I hate wearing a mask
Mhm.
at work because my glasses fog up and then it's hard for me to breathe underneath
Mhm.
the mask. So I would fix asthma if possible. It's one of the, I feel like it's an injustice that was given to me that is probably completely my own fault, but it's an injustice. So injustice is this thing where like humans are kind of like treated as less than by other people, or less than what like God created us to be as humans. And COVID has kind of created a lot of different injustices around us, from people like not being able to go to work to not being able to see their family. What are just kind of like a couple cases that you guys have kind of just seen out and about or on the news or?
For one that kind of hits closer to home, my dad is in the high risk category. He's 72, has dealt with diabetes for most of his adult life. He has glaucoma and he's legally blind, and he deals with pressure in his eyes, and he works with like Veterans Affairs, so he goes to the VA for all of his doctor's appointments. You can't really see anybody local here. And with Corona, they've ended up canceling all of his appointments because they're not deemed like life-threatening.
Yeah.
And he goes every few weeks to get these shots in his eye to help control the pressure that actually are keeping him from going blind. But right now, they can't. They don't consider that life-threatening, your vision.
Mm-hmm.
So they're pushing it out as far as they go, and it's just kind of hard to, when I talk to him on the phone, because I can't really go see him, that he knows that every day he goes longer and longer without the
Yeah.
pressure shots, that's one less time that he's going to be actually able to see somewhat in keeping him from going blind. So for me, is why I get it and I understand everything that's going on. It's kind of a big injustice that my dad is being overlooked for his vision because
Yeah.
of what's going on with Corona.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my family doesn't have something that super serious. I mean, my grandparents have all had their health problems, and like, yeah, there's things within my family, but it's more like we're so far away that we can't go travel and see them even for a day, because all my family's in Ohio and Virginia, like legit all of my family except for my family. So it would be like a 4.5 to 5 hour drive to even go see them. And on top of that, we would have to make like the stop maybe, and then we would have to like stand outside and be there for like 10 minutes if we were, which we're not, because that would be a big waste of time.
Yeah.
But it's like we haven't seen them since Christmas, I don't think. Maybe that's an exaggeration. We might have seen them in like January for my birthday, but it's been a couple of months, and it will be a lot more months because summer's crazy
Yeah.
and all that stuff. So there's like a family like gap
Mm-hmm.
kind of going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, I mean, for me, the biggest thing that comes to mind is definitely our seniors and, like, all the things that they have to miss out on to an extent because of everything. And so that's, like, the biggest thing in my mind currently. And so, like, the Corona, like, the stay-at-home order just got extended to May, like, 28th, I believe? 28th. And I'm hoping that it slows down soon. But like I feel like everyone in general, for some reason or another, feels like this united sense of injustice because of that. And I'm not sure if we've ever really had that, at least in my lifetime, where everyone feels injustice from the same thing. You know, Chelsea's kind of compared it to like, and I'm sure you guys have both heard this because you're both in her small group. It's kind of like everyone's in this classroom that had got their recess taken away. And there's those few people out there, those few students who are just like acting up and being crazy and that sort of thing that gets recess taken away for everyone. And it's just kind of extended beyond what it was supposed to be. And it kind of like becomes more polarizing the longer it goes. So I guess a question I have for you guys that unfortunately wasn't on the preview I sent you. So I apologize for that. But have you found yourself being like getting more agitated the longer this kind of goes on, or?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like small things are like really ticking
It's
me
starting to
off.
build up now.
Yeah, I'm just like, I love you guys, but I have been around you for 4 weeks.
You can
Like
ask
4
my family.
weeks, 4
Yeah,
weeks.
I've been getting angry and agitated easier. Yeah, and just kind of frustrated.
Mhm.
Because sometimes I just want to be like, hey, you guys need to take this seriously so that we can all be in this together and this goes
Mhm.
better. And so, yeah, just be like, why aren't you following the rules? So,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that too. I find myself getting a little bit more like peeved off a little bit because with the smaller things too. And
my therapist referred to it as a kindness marathon. That we're on this kindness marathon and we're trying so hard. We don't know when it's going to end because we're with the people we love the most right now. And it's getting really hard. Like, by the time you're in that marathon, it is hard to run. It is hard to keep going.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to keep that kindness going. And you're like, maybe in these few days, this will be the last of this kindness that I need to get out. And so that really helped me in thinking about, okay, it's okay to be upset and angry. Oh, I need to pay attention to that and then redirect. And maybe I need, an afternoon out in the hammock reading a book away from my family. So.
Yeah. No, for me, it's like I'm like occasionally I'll get in those moods where I'll get really agitated and angry, like first at myself and then other people, and then I often find myself like yelling at God occasionally for it too, like why hasn't He stopped this, or why hasn't He made it get better, or like even if He doesn't stop it, like why hasn't I guess life in general gotten a little bit better, and that has me a little bit frustrated with God right now. And so like as I was kind of doing my quiet time, I found that like even though God doesn't directly speak about COVID-19, because how could He? He does say a couple different things in the Bible about injustice. And so tonight we're going to be looking at the book of James, which is a letter that was written by Jesus' brother, James, about a little bit of how the church interacts with each other. And he has this part about injustice in chapter 2. I'm going to read that real quick for us. It's not on my phone, it's on my iPad. So James chapter 2, starting at verse 14. What good is it, my brothers and sisters, if someone claims to have faith but has no deeds? Can such faith save them? Suppose a brother or a sister is without clothes or daily food, or if one says to them, go in peace, keep warm and be well fed, but does nothing about their physical needs, what good is it? In the same way, faith by itself, if not accompanied by action, is dead. And so, James in this passage seems to kind of let on that faith is more than like just believing in God and praying. It's has something more to do with that. What do you guys think about that?
This is like my favorite passage because
Really?
this was my first year CIY.
Uh-huh.
The main dude, oh shoot, I'm forgetting his name. Glasses, gray hair.
Jason French?
Yes, Jason French. He was preaching. I think this was like Thursday night, so everybody was doing the cuddle puddle thing. Everybody was like, "Oh, this is the highest feels. We're all tired. We're going home tomorrow or Saturday, whatever day we go home." And it was like everything was like amped up. And I think he taught on this passage, and he taught about how words without feet are empty.
Mhm.
And like if you can just say like, "Oh, thank you," or like, "Oh, I'm sorry," but you don't do anything about it, it's like. But that doesn't help me. That just makes me feel slightly better for 2
Yeah.
seconds, and then suddenly I'm terrible again. Like, it's
Same.
gotta have that action.
For me, it made me think of like, say, if somebody says that like they're your best friend, like, but then, goes behind your back and tells people things that you talk about with a best friend, doesn't show up when, when like that best friend should show up. It's kind of, the actions need to show what you're feeling or your purpose or what you're striving to. If you're striving to be that friend with somebody, well, you need to act like it. If you're striving to be a good employee, you need to act like it. Just so if you're striving to follow God and be a good person, you need to act like it.
Yeah, and James kind of like adds up the ante, is like, especially if you're a member of the church, like this definitely needs to be apparent in you, especially when dealing with other people who are members of the church. Like if someone needs clothes, like you help get them clothes at whatever cost you can. And I know for me, I have moments where I read passages like this, and it's like, yeah, I should go out and help people, but then I see someone who needs help and then I choose not to do that. Do you guys ever have moments like those, or does a certain moment come to mind?
Yeah, say this week. Apparently all my stories relate to the grocery store because that's the only other place I can go. It's the grocery store. There was an elderly woman who was checking out in the fast lane, like in the self-scan at the end, and she kept dropping this can of goods that kept going through the bag because there was a hole in it. And I just watched, and all I wanted to do was go and help her and like put it for her, but she like had her mask and I had my mask, everybody was around, and I'm like, ooh, would people like frown at me if I, like when you cough in the store and everybody turns and looks at you and it's like, corona, like I don't want. So I actually held back and didn't, and this is actually something that's been on my heart, my mind. I'm like, why couldn't I just, who cares what everybody else thought, helped her get her groceries in her cart and be on her way, like. But yeah, so there are times when in the moment we hold back.
Mine is less like a specific moment as it is like a general, like walking through the halls at school. If somebody is like, because there's like those crazy people that run through the halls. Why do you run? But there's crazy people that run through the halls, and like sometimes they'll knock into somebody who has like a lot of binders because they can't stop at their locker between classes, and they all fall and all the papers go everywhere, and I'm like, oh, I really want to stop and help you, but this is like the busy lane.
Yeah.
This is the busy lane of the hallways. I can't. If I stop, we will both be run over and die, and like it's
Fiery explosion.
It's those moments where you're like, it wouldn't matter. Just stop. People will move around you. They'll slow down and stop running, but then you don't because you're like, but I gotta get to class. Like.
Yeah, no, I think for me, mine's more of like a general moment too. Like there are tons of times where I'm at Menards working, and I will see a guest that I've helped before, and they have been incredibly frustrating, and I'll just see them in the store, and I can clearly tell they need help with something, and I'll just be like, I remember that, and I just walk the other way, or I'll purposely try to avoid certain people, just because I know that I'm gonna either spend like an hour with them talking about something silly, or I've had people who continually insult me. But for some reason they keep coming to ask me for questions. So it's a really strange dynamic. And so like there are a lot of times at work where I just feel extremely guilty for those moments. And one that really gets me, especially with the church, is like when you're having a heart-to-heart with somebody, and like you're trying to like just be honest with them, and they'll come back with that typical phrase like, oh, I'll pray for you sort of thing. And then a lot of times they'll get this strangely like suspicious, sneaky feeling that it's like you're not gonna pray for me. Like even if you like maybe mean it now, like you're totally not gonna do that. Like you're uncomfortable with my honesty, and so like you're just gonna say whatever can help you get out of the situation. And I know I've been guilty of that before, but how do you guys like feel about that sort of thing, like the "I'll pray for you" statement?
I'll pray for you. Bless her heart. There's a few statements that kind of filter through, but the "I'm praying for you" is a big one, because I actually had a few ladies who were mentoring me. That's like, well, when you say that, you do it. Like they were very big on, I'm praying for you. How about right now?
Yeah.
And that, I can tell you, like really changes the script on that. And it's really weird and awkward at first, but then when it starts happening and you know that they are literally praying for you in that moment, lifting you up, that, yeah, definitely makes a difference. But it is kind of thrown around and used a lot of, I'll pray for you, or I'm praying for you, or they like, or you say like even something in the chat or online of like spilling out your heart of this is what's going on in my life and like praying for you, and you're just like, cool, thanks. Like
It doesn't help me right now.
yeah. So
Yeah.
If you're having the face to face with them, if you don't stop and pray out loud with them right then, you're not gonna do it. Like
Mhm.
on total honesty, you're not gonna, unless you're like super good about like detailed lists and like setting a reminder or something and be like, oh, I gotta do that, and you do it. It's not gonna happen if you don't stop and do it right then.
Yeah, it's one of those moments where, like, kind of what James says, like, if you don't have the action behind that faith, like, or that belief or that church thing you should do, like, if you're not going to do that, then why bother doing that? I felt really convicted about that last week or the other week. I was writing some letters to my friends because some people aren't very good at texting back. So
it's true.
I was sending some letters to them, and I was telling Walter about it. He was like, well, make sure you like actually pray for them while you're writing the letter. I was like, shoot, I need to actually do that. Like, it's not like they aren't, like I'm not praying for them, or I need to do more than just sending out good vibes to them, sort of thing. So I like that's been something that's really been on my heart recently. And that kind of gets to where we want to land tonight. Is that when you're a Christian, action needs to follow what you believe. And if you aren't doing what you believe, then there's kind of no point to the faith that we have. I mean, just to put like a outrageous example out there, if Jesus said that he was willing to die for us, but didn't actually die for us, then there would be nothing for our faith. And so it kind of makes the sort of things, it's like, wow, if Jesus did this to the point of death, then I can definitely take 30 seconds to pray for someone after writing a letter. And so, let me start that phrase over. I am really bad at doing action steps. Like for me, it's easy for me to like sit down and be like, yeah, I should do this sort of thing and figure out how I should put my feelings into action. But I'm not good at that. And so I have a question for you guys. Is there a way or a process that you guys use to kind of like make sure you're actually doing what you say you'll do?
Lists are big for me. I love lists, and keeping track, going through them. Like I check my list in the morning when I wake up, check my list at night, edit. I have it all color coded, sticky noted. I'm telling you, I love my lists, and that is something I definitely use that I have learned over the years. No matter I've tried putting it digitally, I've tried doing other things, but this is my way to help me personally be accountable, and also telling somebody else to help keep you accountable of trying to make that action step. Like if, say, there was a couple weeks ago that I was like, all right, I'm going to Zoom lunch with my friends, a different friend every day this week. And I told my husband about it, and I'm like, help me to call them and contact them to make this. So also, yeah, telling somebody else to help hold you accountable, not just on your own.
I agree with the notes, journals, buy a journal, do it. Journals help. Do like a brain dump, or like just kind of, if you can't sleep, because I struggle to sleep at night sometimes, and it'll be like 11 o'clock or like midnight, and I'll be like furiously writing and just like letting my brain kind of vomit on the page, and like it helps. It like you can get your thoughts out there, you can get what you're thinking, you can get your notes in the journal, you can do like all the sorts of things. I also have an alarm that goes off every day at 2:30, and it's labeled the daily check-in, and I check in with a different friend every day. Be like, hey, how you doing for real, in the text that I send them, and like that helps a lot too.
Okay, yeah, well, those sound like good reasons. Or, yeah, we'll just go with that word because that's where I am right now. I don't think it's any mistake that we're having this sermon series or discussion or whatever you want during this COVID crisis. I think as Christians, even though we should follow, we need to follow the rules that have been put down for our staying home as much as you can. But there are still little injustices, even in our own households, that we can help fix or make the situation better. To put our faith into action. And so is there anything in your household that you can see that you can do to help kind of fight those many injustices?
Oh, my kids are gonna kill me. Yeah, all I keep thinking about is the injustices with my sons. Their education right now is very, very different. My middle schooler, he gets up at 9 and is done with school by 9:30. Like, he has 15 minutes of school from 2 teachers 2 times a week, and that's
Wow.
like it. And then his electives are 30 minutes on Friday. Like, it's super. And then it's kind of like, do it if you can. If not, it's a big deal. Just do whatever you want. Where my eldest son has every single class, every single day, including his electives and gym and all of science, biology, AP, computer science, is expected to do all of these.
Yeah.
And I know it's counter to other places, but they're being graded and they have to pass. And if they don't, then they have to take it in another place. And so for me right now, I'm really struggling with the injustice of how I can help my, them not to quarrel about that.
Yeah.
Because, my younger son can go and play Minecraft or whatever,
Yeah.
and his brother's still stuck for another 2 hours on the computer trying to finish his work. So for me, it's that's been the bubbling, simmering pot for the past couple weeks.
Gotcha.
Yeah, school's definitely a big one. My teachers, the school didn't decide to coordinate with the teachers that they should have set hours so that like students in certain classes don't have overlaps. I think Thursday from the hours 9 to 11, every single class I have is scheduled office hours that day. Like, overlapping every class, it's ridiculous. But the different levels that certain teachers are doing, like certain teachers are giving like a worksheet every day, and other teachers are like, I'll post an assignment for the month and see if you can get it done. It's okay if you can't, but like try. And it's just like, it's ridiculous, but you do the work because what else are you gonna do?
Right.
So
Gotcha. Yeah, I know a big one in my household right now. Chelsea is struggling to figure out how to teach kindergarten
Yeah, she does it.
over Zoom call, and I don't know how she does it either.
She's incredible.
I can barely sit still for 30
I know,
minutes at
right?
home. I can't imagine getting kindergartners to sit in front of a computer and get them to pay attention while you're reading them a book or leading them through a drawing or something like that. But my wife is way better and way more patient than I am.
She's a
So
wonderful person.
I'm glad she's doing that and not me.
warrior
Um,
woman.
What?
Warrior woman. Go
I know,
Chelsea.
right? She's the best. I love her. And so, like I said, I don't think it's any consequence that God has this series during this time period. And I think God has gifted everyone uniquely and in different ways so that you can fight that injustice in some way in your life. And I think God will point those out to us. And hopefully in your guys' small groups, you kind of dive into what you can do to better affect those situations. Because, fighting injustice isn't going to go away overnight, just like COVID. And our faith is definitely needed in fighting injustice. So that's kind of where we're going to end with that tonight. But before we send everybody on their way and send you guys home, we have another video for you guys.
Okay.
And it is all about the many wonderful things you can do while you are bored during COVID. So let's take a look at that.
Hey guys, it's me, Carl. These are my tips for staying sane while in quarantine. Tune a banjo. Take a nap. It's one of the best ways to kill some time. Boost your confidence by fishing for compliments from a friend.
What about me do you like?
Call your Mama.
No, my mom. Planet of the Apes is not based on a true story.
Make sure to keep good hygiene. Google image TJ Maxx, just for the fun of it. Read a book.
The rum is always gone.
Tell secrets to your dog.
I killed a man.
Think of a new idea, like turning on a lamp. Become a peanut butter monster.
I'm a peanut butter monster.
Get to know your houseplants better.
I once ate 3 dozen eggs in one sitting. I haven't been the same since.
Scream. Take a nap. Start collecting cow manure. wow, what a stack. But then realize you're not supposed to be outside, so quickly run back inside. Self-reflect. Is this really me? How did I end up in this body? What even is a body? And how are we all in these bodies on this giant rock floating through infinite space of nothingness? A dark, vast, cold, eternal nothingness. And then you realize how hungry you are. Cook an egg. So yeah, that's pretty much the video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed all these tips for staying sane while in quarantine. It's obviously helping me, so I'm sure it'll help you. Seriously, I've never been better.
Yeah, that
That's-
sweater.
Poor sweater. That poor sweater.
It'll like shrink.
I know. I'm a big fan of the screaming. You never realize how much just like screaming helps until you just do it. So I highly recommend you just scream in your house right now. It's very helpful
Maybe
to
for the
release
pillow.
tension.
No,
pillows are
scream
great for
straight
muffling.
outside. No one else is out there. Like,
All right. Well, that's going to be it for Modified Live tonight. Remember, seniors, please fill out that form for us so we can celebrate you the best way we can. And like I said, remember, next week, not tomorrow, I've been saying that all night. Next week is our last Modified Live for a couple weeks. So make sure you guys tune in, otherwise you will miss us even more. All right, see you later.